Oh, I see. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I hear you.
Oh, thank you. I apologize again for all those technical missteps here. And because we ate up too much time, without further ado, let's just go. And my name is Byungik Kahng, and I'm going to talk about Hyflex education, Hyflex teaching, but especially about particular emphasis on mathematical writing. And basically, this is my aim. What is Hyflex teaching and how to set it up? Advantages and challenges, of course. And then, of course, I want to focus upon something because this is a diverse topic. And the topic I'm particularly interested in for now is mathematical writing and how to embed mathematical writing component into Hyflex or any kind of other asynchronous instruction method, or actually anything at all. Furthermore, this is what I planned, but looks like I cannot keep the promise, especially the last year. I wanted to keep the presentation short, but it's already too late. But as for introducing a serious platform for effective online or in-class delivery, I'll try to find some time to show you that. Oh, by the way, do you keep hearing me, or is it okay? Because we had steps, I want to check if this is okay.
We're hearing you fine.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. Okay, here we go. What is Hyflex course? Long story short, it's a combination of online and traditional course in a single section. And this is particularly useful for us, UNT-Dallas, because we're much smaller, unlike our central college. And then we frequently find ourselves in this kind of situation. We have 30 potential students. 10 students want morning session, 10 students want afternoon session, and 10 students want online session. And we open all three sections. Logistically, that's impossible, too expensive. Now, if we go over to morning and then alienate the other 20 students and then maybe pick up half of them and then lose the other 10 students, or vice versa in the afternoon or in online, that has been the problem we're having all the time. And one of the cost cutting and then also innovative move was Hyflex, put all those together in a single course. It was good for us. And of course, instructor must prepare for format, and then assessments and everything has to be aligned and then fair. All those natural questions has to be answered there. Now, finally, the third point, students are allowed to move from one setting to the other. And this is also particularly important for us. We have a lot of non-traditional students. And so far, every single semester, I had at least one student who had to do that, most of the time more than one. And those are the kind of students we used to lose. And most of those students actually come and tell me and then tell me the situation and then get the help to move one setting to another. They're usually good students, and we don't want to lose those kind of students. And it was kind of successful in that regard. However, well, as we reserve here, is this something our center will be interested in? Because obviously you have much larger college and then multiple sections. So if the idea slide there, for me, I was willing to double, or actually more, initially, double, triple my workload for no compensation, no additional compensation whatsoever, because it's part of my career building for tenure and promotion. But will that apply to central college? That's another thing. So basically, am I just bragging about what I did? Is it really worth something? I had a bit of reserve when actually a colleague of mine volunteered me for this. I didn't volunteer because I wasn't in the class, in the meeting, because I have another class I had to teach there. So I don't know here there, but digging deep and then going through details, and I found out that there are still a lot of topics worthy of discussion. Really, details matter. And adjustments and innovations I had to make in order to enhance advantages or meet the challenges. Every single one of them is worthy of discussion, basically. So the way I think is kind of like solving a math problem very often, or actually far more frequently. The derivation and justification outweighs the conclusion and the answer. And the way I usually rate it is out of 10 points, 3 points, 30% is correct answer. The other 70% is the derivation and justification. So we can apply that idea here. And who knows, maybe some of you may yet use it. But in any case, let's focus upon what kind of adjustments and innovations come with these rather than Hyflex or not. Well, here's a basic setup. And let's go out of this PowerPoint, and then let me go to my Canvas and then show you something in action. There you go. So let me open the browser, and I'm in Canvas, and let's go to a sample section here. And maybe I should open student view. Where is it? Yes, so student view is here. Oops, off screen. What happened? Lots of screen. Oh, do we have to call somebody again? Close return. Oh, I see. Okay, all right. And then, no, it should be HDMI. HDMI is currently supported. Let me see. Can you see the screen from our central? Here, the screen somehow went down.
I see the cam screen, yes.
You can see it's just that over here, it's not cool. And let's see. Does it have something to do with getting out of that PowerPoint? Let's see. And then let's go with restart slideshow. Let's see if this comes back on. Yeah, from here. And then does it come back on here? Okay, it shows up here.
Full screen. Full screen. You go full screen.
Okay, and then if I get out of full screen, this one goes out. And then here in Canvas, and I really have to show you what's inside my class, and then this screen doesn't show up here. Do you have to call Michael again? screen resolution. What if we go down a little bit?
Yeah, good. Right. Yeah, good. Yeah, that's right. Right. We want.
Oh, so we got the screen. Please change it.
Yeah.
Looks like we are getting back. Okay, we got it back. Let me see. I apologize again, and it was different. This time it's a different type of technical difficulty here. And as far as the screen as is concerned, can you see my Canvas screen here?
Yes, we can.
Okay, all right. This is kind of like what our students will see. And then if you go over to the modules here, and I just follow the recommended, as a matter of fact, required setting by our DLIT office, and then we have all these recon modules. If you just go to one module here, and as required by our DLIT office, I have something called required learning materials and additional learning materials. This kind of goes like before and after. Additional learning materials here should be before, and students are advised to go through published lesson videos and notebooks as posted here. And let me show you some of those. Okay. Let me kill the sound here. And can I expand it a little bit? Okay. This is published video. So everybody who got access to textbook and purchase the textbook software can get this and then go through these. The problem with these videos is they are short, and then in terms of level of difficulty, not deep enough. So most of the students who go through online courses tell me that after this, go to homework problem and I can't do it. And that's what I hear a lot from our students. And the same for, this is web science, but same for my math lab, same everywhere as a matter of fact. But if I use it as a before video, so before class, go through this, some idea about it, and that's required to everybody, kind of like semi-fluid class. And then inside, we do something more comprehensive. And as I promised, I'll show you the CAS platform. Let's go to this, required learning material. And then let me get a file. I have full version of Mathematica. So let me open, I can get NB file. Students will have to get CDF file, which is kind of like Adobe PDF Reader. There's CDF player, and that's free. And they cannot do any kind of editing, but they can read and do all those exercises anyway. I wanted to save some time, so let's just go ahead and open up the original file, kind of like this one. And the lesson notebook looks kind of like this. We have arrow box to the right-hand side, and then students can maneuver in, and then select and double-click to open up and see what's inside, double-click to close, and then double-click to go further inside, and then further double-click, and then go to appropriate visualization associated to these. For example, this is trigonometry class, and then I'm explaining the students with these, and the solution of the sine equation. And we get one solution from arcsine, and then there's the other one, which students frequently miss, by the way. And this kind of visualization actually really helps students not missing second solution. And as you can see, this is periodically repeated and some things like these. And all these are summarized in this lesson notebook, and students are required to open up this notebook and then go through with the lesson videos that I created at the same time. Oh, this is not very good. Let me open up in bigger window. And again, let me kill the sound. And let me fast forward a little bit. I do not show up here. It's just my notebook. Fast forward a little bit further. And explanation is actually going on. I killed the sound, but this is what they go to. And this way, I will be more in-depth analysis. And the way I do with traditional students is before class, we have before videos, publish video, and go through some a lot of lessons and small group activities, and then in-class exercises. And after going home, go through this after videos as a review. That's required for traditional students. And of course, for online students, they really need the notebook, mathematical notebook, and then this video is put together, and then go through and study as if they are going through all the classes in class. That way, we could fill a gap between the publisher's lesson video and then the exercise sets that students have to go through, and then exam level. There was significant gap, but we could join them together, both by this interface and then also, well, my videos and so on. And all those are summarized into each module, and then if you go to assignment section, and then we have a bunch of assignments that they have to do on top of those posted in my math lesson or website. And these emphasize to a certain degree mathematical writing. Here's a sample problem. Okay. And number one, pretty much elementary, finding out all the trig ratio. Number two, 2A is elementary. 2B, that's going to be a bit of a headache to students. And then you consider this even as a kind of inquiry base, because when I say with this kind of problems, and very few students, or if any, could actually tackle right away. So they're going to need a bit of a hint, and I don't just give them all the way. And give part of it, and then a day later, give a little part of it. And that kind of slow delivery is actually pretty much synchronous to online students, actually. So we could, to a certain degree, incorporate inquiry-based learning to online students as well. Want to see some examples? Okay, not here, excuse me. Over there. And how about this? Okay. This is a very picture. And the students find out the area of the shaded region. Well, and mathematicians can see right away, but students will have difficulty. And whenever I get questions, I don't show it everything, just give them this. What did I add? I just added the radii. This comes from circles, so go from radius, and then go from there. I don't give them any other information. And students with average level or a little higher than average understanding will be able to figure out, okay, I have to find out areas of these triangles separately. For that, I need center angle. Okay, if you can get center angle, that's at the higher level. But My experience is most of the students needed all this further help. Instead of giving them right away, of course, I can chop those down and then give them the next hint, not the same day. Okay, use symmetry there. I thought there was triangles. So use 75 here, but that's 15. We have 15 down here. And will that help? Let's see, about average level students, from here they can go. They can see that, okay, we have all the radii are 1, and then we center angle, and then they can find out the area of the triangle. And below average students will require 1 more. And kind of like this, and then I don't give them any more. But okay, I have a confession to make. Even after all this, a lot of students couldn't get it done. But in any case, incorporating some inquiry-based learning is possible, and we can actually take advantage of rather slow delivery of the online education, because students are kind of studying asynchronously. So they ask me questions, but I'm answering them the day later. Gives them plenty of time to think, as a matter of fact. Works pretty much okay for inquiry-based learning. Another thing that I'm going to emphasize are from like 3. As you can see, these are proof problems. And the proofs themselves are elementary, but what I'm really emphasizing is grammar. Because you're writing in language, it's kind of like foreign language, or it is a foreign language. And like any foreign language, you got to learn grammar. And you have to follow the grammatical rule. And how do you do that? By imitating. You start from there, and then get your own rule and go from there. At this moment, they're just imitating, so I really have to give them what to do. And let's see, show some examples here. Not too many. Let me see. Yeah, okay. Took it off, so I have to rotate. Rotate view, okay. Okay. And then let me expand. And this is what the students wrote. And then various things here with these Pythagorean identities. But basically what the student is getting is kind of imitating what they have been doing in college algebra, so like solving quadratic equation. We have 1 equation, next equation, third equation. But that's not the way you do the proof at this level. Of course, you can make it into nice proof with things like these, with appropriate logical conjunction like implication, but that's very hard level. And then for that, students should be prepared some algebraic proofs. And as I did my comments over here, I took a lot of points off and then gave some individual feedback here along with suggested grammatical rule. How does the proof work? Start from the left-hand side, apply the definition, and manipulate, and all these are just extension or continuation of one identity, not several separate identities, but it is actually one identity. Consequently, please take a look at this. The left-hand side of all this, like these inequalities, this part where my mouse is running, that's empty. And all these grammatical rules have to be communicated to students so that they can be ready in all the higher level as well. But also, mathematical communication itself, in my opinion, should be an important part of core curriculum of a math course. And Fox also agrees, as a matter of fact. I'll show you in a separate video, by the way. Separate slide, by the way. And of course, giving these feedback to individual students is a bit of work as an instructor. But then again, if you really want some better results in mathematical writing from students, well, you got to put on some effort here, which I'm doing kind of like these. These can be incorporated in any course, as a matter of fact. I'm getting all these through PDF files and then working on like these and returning the students. But you could do that in paper and then write a comment or do whatever. In traditional courses too. I didn't find it very useful because in a lot of situations, students just turn in the homework and then just do away, then do not really come back to it. And if you use these some tools that online students go through, then they have to submit, and then they have to keep their original in their directory somewhere, and they always have to come back and study with these, along with these comments. And that actually enhanced the students' ability, especially in writing. So that's basic structure. And let's go back to the slideshow. Okay. Yes. You can select some problems from there. Basically, in Web of Science, there are partial proofs. By the way, for people in Central, maybe they couldn't hear the question. The question was whether those kind of mathematical writing can be embedded inside Web of Science or MyMathLab. But they both have some long proof problems, and then what they have is a partial proof. Some parts are already printed out, and there are some boxes here and there left as blank, and then they have to fill those in. And then after that, it looks like they understand the structure, and then can they reproduce the entire paragraph? My experience was they couldn't. They could put in those appropriate phrases, mathematical phrases, into those boxes, but can they form entire sentence? That's a challenge. Can they form paragraphs? That's a bigger challenge. But then again, in my opinion, about calculus level, they should be forming a paragraph. And after all this training in Calc 2, usually students do it right. That was my experience. Anyway, that was the question. The answer is yes and no. It is possible. It's possibly there. But personally, my experience was not that good, as a matter of fact. So in summary, advantages of Hyflex teaching, well, as I told you, cost effective. Yes, instead of offering multiple sections of low enrolled courses, we can combine one and then make one course, so it's good. More adaptive to student variable needs. Yes, I have seen various things from financial hardship, employment, that's a good thing, and then pregnancy, all kind of things, and a student has to change. And those are available within a section. Students have to move section. And of course, it can be one person's job, doesn't require multiple sections. Those are advantages, yes. Some challenges, dealing with a double workload, I already talked about it. And then for me, I was willing to do that because, well, in UNT-Dallas, there's something, you know, things like, go like carrot and stick. And tenure review is big stick. And then in order to meet that, we got to do something. So I was willing to go through this double workload, but without that big stick, can you really do that with carrots only? I don't know. That's a challenge to think about. Setting up a fair and uniform grading scale actually is not too much of a deal if you just rely very much upon a math level, where to find those kind of things. But if you try to put those mathematical writing in there, and then get approved assessments to the kind of student you just help them all the time behind over the shoulders versus online students, that's a bit of a challenge, something to be done. But in any case, mathematical writing is significant portion of math education, in my opinion, the biggest. And there is at least one person who shared the same opinion as me. And here's the famous, my favorite, math quote. It's by Galileo. He regards the universe as a book of nature, and it's written in mathematics. And if you do not understand the language, then you can't understand the universe. That's basically what he's saying. Now, do you think Galileo is just an ancient person? This is what today's educators say, and those educators with authority, according to SOX. Yes, I think everybody's going through SOX accreditation, everybody around here. Core learning outcomes should be classified into 3, and then there's some more for other courses, but for math courses, these 3. Critical thinking skills, communication skills, and empirical and quantitative skills. And first and third, we could address to a certain degree, middle or high level problems with some inquiry teaching. Yeah, we could address some critical thinking problems. Empirical and quantitative skills, that's basically everything we do. And then stereotypically, people think of math as only this EQS. But how about communication? That's actually a problem. Let me see, I have a little digression to do, and it's my anecdotal experience that I had with a committee. And then there was a proposal to give some mathematics course to some non-math course. And I liked the idea, and then wanted to object to that. But of course, it is not a perfect war. What I was really concerned about was communication skills. Mathematical communication was not embedded in that course. And all the people there, they're all highly educated and well-trained people with bright minds, but still, they didn't really have much idea of what communication means here, mathematical communication means there. Actually got my undergraduate and graduate degree in big engineering university, and then there, all kind of engineers and scientists come together and they have to communicate in different fields. And the communication has to be accurate, otherwise disaster can take place. And they communicate in mathematics. No problem there, and I've been far too many times. But in liberal arts colleges, it's a little bit different, and a lot of people did not really understand that idea. And then what kind of communication, some verbal communication, like presentation, some essays, some things like this. Didn't really have much idea about mathematics is about communication. But then again, I came back and thought, what came to this? Did we do a good job teaching our students, or actually mathematicians all over the country, as Mayor said, putting this mathematical communication into our general education students? Perhaps we didn't really do a good job, and consequently, we are seeing that kind of misconception flying around everywhere, which means we will have to do something about it, something much better. And okay, students perform. I've already made a promise. You see, to keep the presentation short, I'll skip that. In order to have good mathematical writing embedded in, this is what I propose. And it has to be its own sets of goals and objectives. And then it has to have its own multi-semester curricula. I tried to scratch in single semester. It didn't really work very well. Its own assessment measures based on those curricula have to be in the syllabus, and this is what I do. For college algebra level, read and write makes like mathematical symbols and phrases. That's what I emphasize, symbols and phrases. Whether they're using parentheses, okay, and whether they are confusing multiplication and division and things like those. And in trigonometry level, it's a little bit higher, trigonometry and to calculus. Communicate in mathematical phrases and sentences. Now I'm requiring my students to write the full sentence. A full sentence has a grammatical structure. We have to have subject, verb, and then object and things like those. What's the verb in mathematical sentence? In this level, what's the verb? Quality is usually the verb, sometimes inequality. That's the verb. If you miss that, if you do not write equalities and if you choose equality, it's kind of like communicate like, I, Tarzan, it's me, Tarzan, you, James, cheetah, banana, those kind of things. And yeah, you can just list all those nouns and pronouns and pronoun and communicate a little bit to a certain degree. But then again, is that what we want our graduates to be to a certain degree, quote unquote? No, I want excellence. That's why I'm doing these. And then of course only the higher level goes a little bit more. In calculus level, I want paragraph, and then even high level, statements and complete proof. And some examples and partial assessments, a little bit dated, but I'll show you. Okay, here. Okay, this is actually an old example. And then kind of plan, execute, and assess, and then let's go directly to assessment. Kind of example here, for obvious reasons, student's name is withheld. Some mistakes here, like these, and then the solution of the equation is not complete. Got tangent half x is 3/4, but I want x, so going one more step. This is typical EQS, equals on quantitative skills. Go down a little bit. Here's another example. And then simplifying this, and students did everything correctly, but did not use all those equalities there. And then I made a comment, and I put those equalities and then comments there. It's wrong. But please note, I didn't pick up any points because this was trigonometry. And for these mathematical paragraphs, yes, okay, they're learning, but not as much as taking some points off. Let's go to calculus class, for example. Here's a good example. Students using limit notation very well. So at this time, all the equalities actually make sense. And not surprisingly, all good, perfect. Another example here, even though the answer is correct, the notation is not right. Left-hand side is limit, so that's a number. Right-hand side is just an x expression, so it's a function. They cannot be equal. And then, of course, the final expression is not right, and that's somewhat of a deduction. I think I gave 6. Anyway, they have to be appropriate curriculum based on student skill level, and it should go multi-semester. I tried to cram it out in single semester. It didn't work very well. In the end, this is all dated, but this is kind of thing what I got with 2 sections of calculus. It was done through 2014 to 15, and then I didn't follow through because I had a lot of other things to do, like my own career to think about. And as you can see, in calculus classes, as for use of symbols, from the early semester towards the final, we're seeing improvement. It looks like 60 something and then get 100% and going down. But going down, that's possibly because materials are getting harder. So I'm not surprised. In terms of improvement, yes, definitely there is there. As for sentencing, if you compare the second and third exams, third assessment, maybe a little bit down, but then again, compared with the original starting point, it's an improvement. As for paragraphing, as you can see, not much improvement there because it's tougher even for calculus students. We have to hammer them anyway, I do. And then by the time they reach calculus 2, and actually they do, and usually those students get those right. But anyway, this is the kind of reasons I have. But then again, these are based upon really small samples. I didn't really do any kind of statistical analysis. But if anybody's interested and want to do something further, we can consider it. I don't know whether it's really feasible or not in any case. So, in conclusion, we discussed all these. How about the Hyflex teaching, how to set up, share the canvas, and then how the before and after class videos are set up to help the students in appropriate skills, and then advantages and challenges, and then particular emphasis on mathematical writing. And if you forget everything, what I talked about today, if you just remember one thing, the quote by Galileo, universe is a book and it's written in mathematics, and you got it already. Thank you. Any question, please?
In the beginning, you said that you might have 10 students that want on one class and one class and one online. And then so the idea was to accommodate all of them. Do you accommodate the morning and afternoon too?
Well, let's see. It was just an analogy, but still, it is continue to become a problem here in UNT-Dallas. We have different needs from students, but then again, those math are not big enough. So on one hand, we have low under-enrolled classes, and then we have too many classes, and instructors are doing all those, cover all those, and then we have under-enrolled overload, so you have to teach one extra course with grand total of $800 per entire semester, and it's not fun. I've done 2 additional courses with grand total of $2,000, $1,000 each approximately. It wasn't fun experience, but if the students have to graduate, obviously not going to graduate in time, we have to do it. And we'll have to pull all strings to make those, everything running. And Hyflex was one of those ideas.
I just want to make sure if you want to do extra work, I want to make sure that was a part of the extra work. So having a morning class and afternoon class.
Early on, I did that, and then I'm correct because early on I opened an online class, and then I did not reserve the classroom for this because we didn't do Hyflex model yet. I didn't talk to the dean yet. So I emailed the student what time is good for you, and then we have multiple hours in the morning for one student, not once, one part of the student, and another one in the afternoon. So it felt like I was teaching 3 classes and preparing everything. And then, I couldn't do this any longer. And then I went to the dean, and then can I reserve the classroom and then put them together? And then she gave me a fascinating name of Hyflex. And then I'm using that. And that is, as a matter of fact, something I had been thinking about. You mean the Hyflex, putting those together, and thinking about since I was working in Minnesota as well. because that was really small liberal college too. And then the online class was just this being just cast away, and then those students were just enrolling in other colleges and universities, and that used to be a problem. I don't know whether that's the same kind of problem that El Centro College or maybe audience member here are teaching some other colleges too. And if there are some problems in anywhere, there's something to be incorporated, yes. But then again, even if the Hyflex education itself may turn out to be useless, the details that support it, and some of those ideas can be, of course, picked up and incorporated into the teaching. Hello, any question from there? Can you still hear us?
No, I don't think we have any questions on our end. Thank you.
So, yes, please. Oh, I see. Well, the way UNT-Dallas defines hybrid is students show up about half the time, and then the other half the time online. So that's usually what they call hybrid. And then, for example, instead of Monday, Wednesday class, students just have Wednesday for labs only, and the Monday portion goes to online. And then and Wednesday, they do in-class exercises and things like those. And then in some other courses, especially there are a lot of students, especially for mathematics, no, I don't want that. I want to come here in class and do those exercises because I find myself, I study better in that face-to-face environment. There's a lot of demands there. And then how to put those online demands together, that's why I'm doing the Hyflex. And especially early on, it really felt like you can report this. But it is possible to mitigate a little bit by having multiple sections. And so on, busy library, something you did already. But still, it depends heavily upon institutional support. That is, simulated teaching is more high stress. So after getting all those teaching evaluation, do I get some extra consideration from that? I do expect it, and then if that really dries up, then maybe I'll have to quit doing that and then think about my own career advancement before anything else. But so far, our university has been very supportive of it, and I'm very grateful about that.
Just to clarify, when you're teaching Hyflex, you're following the Zoom for 2 days?
Yes.
And you have regular attendance for students and based on that?
Yes, yes. And then many students just declare one and then stick to that, but many students just bounce between one and the other. And then, of course, in any class, there are students who just don't care, not showing up. Something that we cannot really control very much of. And is Hyflex actually emphasizing that problem? I don't know. It may have that problem. I don't know. I just honestly don't know. But so far, in terms of results, as far as the passing rate and things, pretty much the same. So is that good? In terms of education research, the result in the end is pretty much the same as before. Usually that education research is useless. But in this particular case, I think it's okay because it's a cost-cutting move and all. Compared to all that, we are accomplishing about the same thing. But then again, I don't think it's publishable because of that reason.
Yeah, no, it's really good because there's no difference. You're doing a really good job online.
Well, anecdotally, there are a lot of students that I've otherwise lost, and that were able to follow through. And one such student invited me to her middle school for some math day activity, and then I went. I brought some UNT-Dallas students there, and then had really fun there. And then I got special permission to actually mention about it. And then she was happy to oblige because I still wouldn't use her name. But this was kind of a success story because she had really personal difficulty, financial troubles, and then even after all those, she had to withdraw from at once. But in other cases, going back and forth through this Hyflex, and then got through with difficulty, and then graduated, and finally got a career. She's the only one in her extended family with a bachelor's degree. And then now everybody else, almost everybody else, is doing some work in, say, hair studios and tattoo parlors. She is actually a middle school teacher. And then her nephews and nieces, they're all looking to her, and they're making good influence. UNT-Dallas has been a part of that, so I'm proud of that. Oh, by the way, it's okay for me to talk about this much because I got the permission in case somebody's worrying about am I diverging too much.
I assume that are all like in class.
Excuse me?
That's
Oh, yes. It's an important question. Yes. I have given online exams before, 3 times actually, and then twice it was terrible. Students getting something like 80% or so in homework, and then children take the exam and the score 8 out of 100, 12 out of 100, something like that. It's not like 80 to 60. And after that, I just no. You have to come to here and take the exam. But there are some students who cannot come here. In that case, they'll have to set up test center, and then we have to authenticate the proctor, and then the authentication goes very quickly if the proctor is a DCCD college professor. In that case, its authentication is really easy. And there was one case, the proctor was the health science center professor in Florida. In that case, well, easy. But then again, in some other situations, I've given remote exams as far away as Denver, Colorado, and Washington, D.C., even students with actual work. So authentication is a bit of a work. So you have to ask for students to do that a week or more in advance. But it goes like this: authenticated to proctor, and then I give the instruction exam, everything to the proctor, and the proctor gets everything, scans me, and then electronically send me the exam, and then later, and the hard copy also arrives. And then the remote exam fee is usually about $30, $35. It's not too much. And then I've given remote exam for my son too. As a matter of fact, I wanted him to pass it, or what do you call it, the TSA exam before. So I took him to UNT-Dallas and gave the exam. I paid $30 about that. So it's not something students cannot afford. So for the sake of the fair, the authenticity, what's the word for the exam? Excuse me? Integrity, for the exam assessment. I strongly advocate properly proctored exam. And of course, if you're giving remote exam, authentication of the proctor is really important to me. It's really important business to me.
And then my last question is there some kind of designation on the schedule of classes that let students know that?
Yes. We have communicated to, the question is about can the students see whether this is Hyflex or not? Yes. And we talked to registrar, and then they have scanned the process, and then they put it's a fully online course, and then also put those times. And sometimes students get confused. I signed up for online course, but why do I see meeting times? And they email me, and then of course, I give them the answer. The registrar also has all the answers, so they tell them. So they have standard posters there. Yes.
I just want to add to that. Coming from business learning,
Yes.
it's been a discussion that I've had with the registrar too to make that a little bit more clear. So in the future, there may be a different designation so that you can really clarify what the course is.
Yeah, that would be really helpful because most of the students get it, and the students, they communicate with each other, they get it. But every now and then I get an inquiry from students like that. Oh, do I show up because I thought I signed up for online? And I always tell them, oh, it's, all the group here, you see.
It's some discussion that I've had with the registrar, and the Hyflex really is another form of hybrid. It almost fits that designation of hybrid more than it does online. But it's really clear to have it in the notes on the schedule. So that's something that we're looking at. I think it's something bad. I also wanted to add, if it's something that you choose to do, and those of you that are at Dale Central, make sure you work with your distance learning or instructional technology department. Here at UNT-Dallas, you have to make sure to work with us. Even if you're thinking about making it Hyflex, the design is going to take a while, and we're here to support you. But before we go live, we have to make sure that it meets quality standards. And just like you've used the template, the canvas, everything is structured out. All that has to be kind of discussed and laid out ahead of time. It does take a lot of time, and I know that you attest to it.
Yes.
It takes
Yes.
a lot of
I'm
time.
going to have all those structures into those modules, and I follow the template. And then in the title, in those names, I followed everything. Even by the letter, it's not, or pretty much by the letter. Yes, other
The
than
big part of it is work with distance learning. Of course, does have to be approved to be, it will be approved to be hybrid, a form of hybrid. But then we will work with you with the design to get it going. But we just need that time ahead of time, which can take some months to get it prepared. It's not something that can just be done within a couple of weeks.
Also, in student point of view, a student is taking 3 or 4 distance learning classes, and then the format look all different. No, that's going to be a problem. They should look pretty much uniform. Maybe some flexibility, but the similar kind of structure should be intact. Otherwise, students will get confused. So it's very important that talk to distance learning and then get the template and then get the structure there, and then develop the course within that framework. And it took me quite a bit of learning to get all those, and I don't pretend I became an expert by now, but at least with some experience, it's doing better. And also one more thing, the grading and comments that I give to students, because I emphasize mathematical writing, and the new software improved it a lot compared with the old software, where I had to download the file and then make the separate file, save it, and then upload back again. That was the kind of old business. Right now, the speed grader takes care of it really quickly, and then when I put all those comments there, and it automatically creates a separate PDF document, and then it just flips back into the last page of the homework, so that students can get that downloaded comment as well. So everything is very well managed and supported by LIT. Excuse me, I'm talking about Canvas.
The assignment submission, when you create those assignment submissions, there's notation, because the assignment actually comes up, but then within Canvas, it'll ask you to a note page and mark up, and then submit it back to the
And one thing that used to frustrate me was when the students submitted all those JPEG files, like pictures with their phones, and then each person has 10 files, and then there are 30 students, and then I have to swarm with 300 files. But then again, I don't have to do that with this new system, the Canvas. So it's a big improvement in that regard, in terms of the instructor's convenience and also security as well. Excuse me, I made a promise to keep this discussion short, but I'm sorry I couldn't keep my promise there. Part of it, I blame this technical difficulty, but there were a lot of lively questions here. And one more. Any other question? Otherwise, thank you very much, and then I'll call it a day. Any other questions there? No. Thank you very much for the invitation. Yeah. Okay, now let me return this to Melissa, and then she'll give you the cool reading.
All right. So I guess we're going to do our surveys and call it a day. Great. Thank you very much. We'll do the same. All right.